Big reveal? No, I don't do public flashing. You must have me confused with someone else who wears a big coat. Oh, big reveal live stream. Yes, that I did cover that. There were loads of major chapters who got a themed combat patrol. The Deathwatch didn't. It may only be a matter of time. It's not gonna happen. Okay, let's do our own. Because the previous combat patrol is really bad. This is Deathwatch in name only. It is Deathwatch only because it had an upgrade sprue. It is still intercessors and not much else. But you gotta have that Space Marine Lieutenant. I'm Christian von Carmian. I play Deathwatch, for better or worse. Usually worse. But I played Adeptus Sororitas Battle Sisters for so long, like long before Plastic Infantry, that I'm used to getting ignored for rules and updates. So I'm gonna make a new combat patrol for the Deathwatch. The rules I'm following are the ones used by Warhammer. They've been used by me before. They're good working rules to give you a design frame when making a combat patrol. And I know many of you watch Warhammer. I used to need a private investigator to see who else you were seeing, but now YouTube tells me. I have been featured on the channel, which was nice, but I've not been a guest on the channel. If you can help to make that happen so I can talk about Deathwatch Sisters or Genestealer Cult with them, please politely bother the appropriate people. So to summarize the first part of one of their 40-minute videos, these are the Warhammer rules for making a combat patrol. Roughly 500 points in the box. It needs to include one character to lead the force. You can't add in or design a new character of your own. That's a Warhammer rule, even though it's possible that Games Workshop may do it, and Games Workshop has done it already by having the new White Scar character model in the Combat Patrol. The other Combat Patrols do not have their equivalent character. We may get a new Watchmaster for the Deathwatch, but that could be next edition. The Combat Patrol under Warhammer rules needs to contain one battle line unit, even though the Ultramarines themed Combat Patrol doesn't. The previous Thousand Suns Combat Patrol didn't, just lots of Zangors. So I'll take that as a Warhammer guideline, rather than a hard Games Workshop rule that they seem to be working under. I've also noticed that the units do not need to be able to be joined by the characters, so you can end up with a character working alone, like the Dark Angels has the Gravis Captain, and no Gravis Marines in the set. Along with the battle line unit, you want another elite or more elite unit. So the Sisters of Battle Combat Patrol has the Sisters of Battle, and has Celestian Sacrosancts as well. And it previously had Seraphim as a more elite unit compared to regular Battle Sisters. There can be one centerpiece, like a tank or a monster, but there are fewer other models to compensate. And the Combat Patrol cannot be made up of so many units that it ends up making a box, a physical box, that is larger than the Drukhari's Combat Patrol. The sprues of the models need to fit in a reasonable sized box. And you can't split a sprue. If there is a sprue that makes 10 models, that is either 0 because you're not including it, or it makes the 10 models, because there's no combination of full sprues that would make 5 models. And also, if the sprue comes with more than one model, you can't discard spare models. So if it has a Patriarch, Primus and Magos on the sprue, you can't keep the Patriarch and throw the others out. They have to be included. Warhammer also asked that it is viable to build multiple boxes, but we know Games Workshop doesn't follow this as soon as they add a named character that is unique. But also, the rules are that it should not match what else is available to buy as a big box. If there is a battle force, and by following these rules you can design that battle force but cheaper, don't do it. Not allowed. And the max value compared to buying from Games Workshop is 50% off. So if the Combat Patrol is sold for £100, you cannot have more than £200 worth of models if sold separately through Games Workshop. So I'm not talking about buying through eBay or going through my wonderful affiliate links that get you discounts compared to buying through Games Workshop on anything, including Combat Patrols, to get the savings on top of savings. New Combat Patrols available. They're in affiliates. You want to buy them? Makes me money as well. I love it when you support the channel, whether that's with money, direct money, or nice comments. So let's get started. This is the Deathwatch. So we want to have the Deathwatch Veterans. In this case, the new Deathwatch Veterans kill team. We are assuming that these are a battle line unit, and are also assuming that the points are similar to the current veterans. We'll go with exactly the same for convenience. Primaris versions replacing firstborn units are usually very similar in points, as they get one more close combat attack, so 4 attacks per veteran, but they also lose a lot of weapon options. And we've seen that this new kit does indeed have fewer options than the pre-existing 2016 Veterans kit. But if rules follow, you can look forward to the new Deathwatch Veterans having 4 attacks, which matches the Stern Guard and Vanguard Veterans. Because Combat Patrol wants to be compatible with a Combat Patrol game mode, there should be build instructions saying, yeah, you build the models exactly like this. So we'll build the models exactly like this. We're using all of the weapons except for the heavy bolt rifle, because this squad of 10 has 11 weapon options. So we'll have a sergeant with a power sword and plasma pistol, one marine with a xenophase blade and some sort of bolt pistol that looks like either a heavy bolt pistol or absolver bolt pistol, a Gravis Marine with a frag cannon, a Gravis Marine with an Infernus heavy bolter, one Marine with a plasma gun, one Marine with a bolt gun, a Phobos Marine with 2 knives, a Phobos Marine with a disruptor and a bolt gun, one Marine with a big Deathwatch thunder hammer, and a Marine with a Deathwatch shield. And in the Combat Patrol game mode, this squad of 10 would be split into 2 squads of 5, each one having a Phobos Marine and a Gravis Marine, like the top 5, and then the other squad is the bottom 5. If these are a battle line unit, which they should be, they have sticky objectives in the Combat Patrol game mode. See, I am thinking about the game mode. I want Combat Patrol to be as good as Age of Sigmar Spearhead. Perhaps next edition will make it happen. The second unit is 5 Stern Guard Veterans. They're veterans that keeps the veteran theme. Their rules would be changed for Combat Patrol because I don't think they should get full rerolls to wound against the Oath of Moment target. It could go back to reroll wound rolls of 1 against the Oath of Moment target. Because if the Deathwatch veterans get to reroll hit rolls against aliens, and reroll hit rolls of 1 against everyone else, or in Combat Patrol they may have a more generic version that is reroll hit rolls of 1 only, but if the Deathwatch are already rerolling hit rolls, your Oath of Moment target will want to be what the Stern Guard is shooting at. And if they get full rerolls to hit and full rerolls to wound, in Combat Patrol, that's a bit overpowered. I tried to think of a unit that would also be valid for the Imperial Agents, and yes, the clear option is the Corvus Blackstar instead of the Stern Guard. Because aside from your specialist kill teams, including Kill Team Cassius, that are in Imperial Agents Legends, the only options are Deathwatch Veterans, Corvus Blackstar, Captain Artemis, and a Watchmaster. 10 veterans, a Corvus Blackstar, and a character would be around 485 points, so can I not be boring? I like the Stern Guard models. They look pretty cool and technically have more posability than their previous models because those models were metal. And they are the Space Marine unit that uses special ammunition in the lore. They are perfect for Deathwatch. And the Corvus Blackstar was already in the Ordo Xenos army box with 5 older Deathwatch veterans. I think that's getting a bit too close to the guideline on not making a box that already existed. I also can't imagine that flyers would do too well on a Combat Patrol board, which is 44 inches by 30. Then you have to introduce all of the flyer and the aircraft rules into that game mode. Let's not. So we have the 10 veterans and a Stern Guard squad. Leading this Combat Patrol, we could have Captain Artemis. More special characters are turning up in Combat Patrols like Castle and Crow, so Artemis is fine. But I like the more generic Watchmaster, so when adding one of the 2 enhancements to a character in Combat Patrol, it feels much more normal. A Lieutenant with Power Fist and Bolt Rifle is another option to lead this small group. That would be more lore thematic for the size of the kill teams present. More so than a Captain or Watchmaster, but let's stay with the Deathwatch in flavour. I can hardly criticise the previous Combat Patrol for having a Lieutenant, and then introduce a Lieutenant into the new Combat Patrol. And with a more Deathwatch character, you could have a scenario to represent Holjar's Folly, where a Watch Captain had to be rescued by a Primaris kill team. That could happen if this Combat Patrol existed and then appeared in the Combat Patrol Hachette magazine. They have scenarios. One of the recent ones had the Eldar Combat Patrol in the corner being menaced by the Chaos Combat Patrol, and the Wraith Guard had to hurry and save them. That's 15 veterans and a Watchmaster. It needs something a little extra just to round it out. So we'll have 5 Vanguard veterans with jump packs, another veteran unit so it suits the Deathwatch theme. If a chapter were to send some novice, that would be kind of insulting to the Deathwatch. But with the Vanguard veterans, that rounds out to 500 points exactly. Assuming the new Deathwatch veterans are the same points as the veteran kill team and the Fortis kill team. and that there is no further increase on the points to Vanguard Veterans. If the points went up, they would have to be dropped to make this compatible with the Warhammer rules. If we had the Corvus Blackstar, there would be no Stern Guard or Vanguard Veterans. Having them lets Games Workshop get that old stock used. And the Vanguard Veterans have really cool weapons, sadly only covered as Vanguard Veteran weapons on the rules. We've got axes and shields, swords and shields, a power fist, a plasma pistol. Generic rules profiles let you make cool models, and Deathwatch like that. The Deathwatch representation of this unit has power fists and power swords. We're swinging with twin lightning claws, but I would happily fix this datasheet. So let's quickly fix this datasheet. It starts with 5 models with bolt pistols and chainswords, and these are good chainswords, like 6 attacks per model chainswords at AP -1. Then 3 of the models can have a power weapon instead of a chainsword. That's the axe, the big sword, and the smaller power sword. Up to 4 models could swap their chainswords for a thunderhammer. 3 attacks per thunderhammer hitting on a 4+ with devastating wounds. 4 of the models can have twin lightning claws instead of a bolt pistol and a chainsword. Real lightning claws, 4 attacks, twin linked. And 4 models can have storm shields instead of their bolt pistols. That gives you a 4+ invulnerable save. And that could be paired with any of the weapons, so have a chainsword and a shield, a power axe and a shield, the thunderhammer and a shield. The sergeant can swap their bolt pistol for a plasma pistol or a grav pistol, and the sergeant is the one that can swap the chainsword for the power fist. I assume that when these rules were on about the hand flamers and inferno pistols, that was because of a Blood Angel upgrade sprue, because you don't get them in the box as far as I know. Those are the rules I would like to see. Then the unit could go back up to 110 points. That would give you a Smash Squad with 4 Thunderhammers and a Power Fist, or a Horde Killer with 5 Chainswords with 30 attacks and lethal hits on the charge. They may get new models next edition or sooner, but those are the weapon parts and rules I would like to see. It's such a shame that a unit getting Primaris models and rules reduces the number of weapon options. I know it takes longer to roll more attacks for more different profiles, but I also think that 40k has too many models for a standard army and that games take too long. I have said that before, and I'm finding a more sinister reason for it, and I'll report back soon. This is probably enough units for the Combat Patrol. We're seeing around 20 models for some of the new Combat Patrols. Sorry, Iron Hands. But we do want to add the extra bits in the form of an upgrade sprue, so that the shoulder pads, and you get 10 shoulder pads on an upgrade sprue, they can go on the Stern Guard and the Vanguard Veterans. These Stern Guard models have separate shoulder pads, unlike the monopose version that came in the Heroes of the Chapter set, which is from the 10th edition Leviathan starter set. The Lieutenant with Combi Bolter from that Heroes of the Chapter set suits the Deathwatch. That's a gnarled veteran ranging ahead like a Kill Marine, that's a Deathwatch thing, temporarily repairing their armor with Dead Xenos. And we have seen weird characters that can't join any unit in a box before, so the Apothecary Biologus wouldn't be too out of place. But then we're increasing the points again, and we'd have to lose one of the veteran squads like the Vanguard Veterans. And of course then the Stern Guard don't have suitable shoulder pads to make Deathwatch. So assuming £47.50 for the 10 Deathwatch Veterans when sold separately, that would match the price of the 10 Space Marine Scouts kill team. This would come to £159.50 for the 21 models and an upgrade sprue. That's well within the 50% off rule for a £100 Combat Patrol. For comparison with the new Combat Patrols, the Imperial Fists are £147.50 assuming no upgrade sprue, and the Iron Hands is £159. If this was in US dollars, because you don't want to work in proper pounds with gold currency, $37 for the Watchmaster, $16.50 for the upgrade sprue, $62.50 for the Stern Guard, $60 for the Vanguard Veterans, and $80 for the kill team to match the cost of the Scouts. That's $256 compared to the $168 for a normal Combat Patrol. It's fine, it matches all of the rules. That's what I would make as the Deathwatch Combat Patrol. What would you have put in the Deathwatch Combat Patrol? If you want to see me do this again for the Genestealer cult, that's the next video. My darlings and viewers, have a great day of 40k.